Hello, everyone. So today is Monday, and as some of you may know, I have now established a solid routine of coming out with a new video, and I have been calling them Mondays with Mary. Some of you that follow on my Facebook page as well as Instagram and LinkedIn may have recognized that I am actually now going by the name Sierra, and that may seem weird and uncomfortable for some of you, and that's okay. You can keep calling me Mary. It is just a name after all. I am choosing to make the switch to Sierra because that feels more in alignment and better to me, and so I need to honor that. That being said, that means that the segment is now going to have a new name, which I am calling Sierra Says. So let's get right into it. One of my most favorite sort of hot topics is settling. And I personally think that while it wasn't a conscious choice in my own life, there have been times where I've certainly settled for things. And I feel like this, real passion to try and really ignite passion in someone else to say, hey, look, you don't have to settle. It doesn't have to be like this. And I unfortunately have had a whole lot of experience with people who have chosen to settle on purpose and consciously, which is really unfathomable to me. But I call that the ass in seat syndrome. And it is very real. And I hope to try and help people avoid that and realize that they have options and that doesn't have to be the answer. That being said, what are some ways that maybe you're not recognizing that you're settling? One of the first things that I would ask you to check in with yourself is, can you see in yourself that you actually have a belief that you don't have any options or any choices? And when I say that, I mean, maybe you think, oh, I'm older now, and so there's just not really that many single people that are available, so I kind of just have to take what comes to me. Maybe you are settling because you are trapped in a situation where you are feeling like you don't have an option because of having children or financial resources. I personally happen to work with people who go to the first one. They believe that they don't have options and choices because for whatever reason, age or maybe they just don't think that much of themselves. Maybe they just think that, hey, I'm not really that attractive. Or, hey, I don't really make that much money. I don't have that great of a job. And so they believe that the dating pool is really limited to them and that finding a partner is going to be really limiting to them. And so they just take whatever comes along. And you have to, they think like, I'll just make this work. One of the other big things that I would ask for you to really take a look at in determining whether or not you may or may not be settling is to decide, what do I truly believe I deserve? Because if you have a true belief that you don't really deserve that much, then you're 100% going to settle for partners that are not really able to give you that much. And that is a form of settling. Believing that we don't deserve that much, we don't deserve to have the kind of relationship and the kind of partner that somebody else in our lives have, then that is a form of settling. So, probably key for you to figure out and really take a look at is, where do my beliefs really lie? Because that will determine whether or not you are settling in your relationship or not. The third point that I really want to bring up, and let's be clear, there's all kinds of ways to evaluate whether you're settling or not. And at the end of the day, it comes to a real gut root knowing. Yes, I'm an expert. I'm somebody that works with people in this being one of my highlighted areas. So I instinctually can recognize signs and even the energies and be like the more hidden things that somebody else maybe cannot recognize, in particular for themselves. But the last point that I want you to consider if you're settling is, how often do you feel like you are compromising some part of your needs and wants? And maybe that can be a really tangible thing. Like, you're constantly deferring to this person in relationship to try and keep them happy, right? Like, they have a stronger opinion about something, like where you should go to dinner or where you should take your next vacation or how often they should be allowed to go out and spend time with their friends, how little you two actually need a date night. So it can be really tangible things like that that you feel really strongly differently than your partner about, and yet you find yourself that you keep relinquishing and you keep giving up. Or that idea of giving up and being too self-compromising may just be a general feeling that you have on a whole, that, well, after a year of being in a relationship, it's normal that we're not really that connected to each other. We don't really ask each other about each other's day anymore. Maybe it's normal and I should just learn to accept the fact that we have different interests and totally different opinions on things and ways that we enjoy spending our free time. And so I should just find friends that can fulfill all of that aspect of my life for me rather than looking for my partner. These examples does not mean if they show up for you, it doesn't mean that you are self-compromising, because maybe that works for you and that's totally fine and there's nothing wrong with it. So please know that that needs to be an individual assessment that only you can make. These are my 3 top sort of signals to yourself, things to look at to see if you might be in a situation where you are settling. So, if you believe that you may fall into the ass in seat syndrome and you want some help evaluating that and maybe moving on or improving that, please reach out to me. You can message me at facebook.com/B+1. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your week.